And I'm having the same problem.
Okay,
Wait, so
but
that's
we
because
on. It's only like 1 minute.
because 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 I didn't add y'all to the when you enter the studio. I have to add y'all into the.
Got it. Okay.
So
Let me get my situations. Why am I halfway? Why am I halfway? All right.
Here's my glasses.
How y'all ladies doing tonight?
Okay,
Alhamdulillah.
alhamdulillah.
So
Close my door. Do not come in here. Bye. Hey, little kid, little girl. Out. Come in here. These the little people.
I had the little people this weekend. I know.
so
The little people.
so ladies, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so tonight well, I don't have access to my drive, so can somebody just read the statements of that this is not a place where you can get mental health treatment from, please?
Okay, let me bring it up. I'll bring mine up. I'm sitting in front of my computer. I just turned it on.
Okay.
The disclosure.
Yes, please.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. So it is inside of our note. Disclosure.
So while she's doing that, we can start with introductions for anybody new. Why is my AirPods not working? Um, my name is Michelle Renee Davis. I am everyone's favorite therapist. I am a licensed practicing counselor who specializes in relational trauma. And here tonight, we are going to be discussing the roles and responsibilities of a Muslim man that's who have decided to practice polygyny, which is always a great thing. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah,
Right.
good topic. Good topic. Good topic.
Well, Masahir, Assalamu alaikum. I am Laron the Muslim, and I am currently finishing up my degree in social work, and I am currently an intern under my sister here, Michelle Renee Davis.
Inshallah.
Okay. Nice, nice, nice. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh. I am Felicia Burton, and my attribute is Fatima. I am a master's level clinician and a doctorate in leadership. And I do a lot of good things in my life. So that's what I do.
Inshallah.
I I want to see how to, and we'll talk about that later. I wanted to see how I can target the audience, my audience as well, at the same time, so that to get on a larger platform and things of that nature. Because we really need as many Muslims as possible to hear what we are bringing. to the table here. But so I brought up the disclaimer, and what it says is that
Thank you.
this, you're welcome, and is that this is everyone's favorite therapist, and she just introduced herself. And it says that I will be utilizing Facebook to discuss mental health concerns in the Muslim and African American communities. This page is not a substitute for professional assistance or a replacement for professional counseling or mental health care. I do not provide counseling via messages. So, no social media posts or podcasts should be considered personalized professional advice. All questions that are answered should not be considered as therapy, but a guidance to assist you with thinking about professional therapeutic services. No part of this podcast or post should be used to diagnose or treat yourself or others. If you have a mental health emergency, please contact 911 or go to your nearest mental health facility. This podcast is for information purposes only. Mental health has a lot of nuances. Please do not try to diagnose yourself or others. If you believe you are struggling with mental health concerns, please contact a therapist. You can also go on ASAM website for referrals to treatment. Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
So,
So,
so basically, tonight we wanted to talk about polygyny and the male's role um, and the family dynamics. And this is not one thing I don't want for anybody to do, to think that we are bashing men. This is really for what men should be doing, not what they're not doing. Um, at the end of it all, Allah says that men are the protectors and maintainer of women.
mm-hmm.
So as the
So,
Quran,
was this as the Quran? Go, you want to go
guys.
ahead? No, I was just repeating after you. No, I was just repeating after you.
Oh, I was gonna say as the Quran, and I agree. This information isn't to bash or belittle the
Mm-hmm.
brothers in the community. The information is a source of encouragement. So by Allah's permission, they will step up and take responsibility and also accountability for their headship. The Quran is the headship of the family, and it is important that they set the tone for the family,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you take on a new shahada. It is part of your responsibility to make sure that she's educated, to make sure that she has literature to study from, to make sure that she understands how to perform wudu and how to offer salat. It is his responsibility to do so, because what brothers I believe forget, don't don't seem to understand, is you're going to be called to account for her.
Absolutely.
You are going to be called to account for her. So
Mm-hmm.
it would be in your best interest to incorporate those things in this lifestyle that we were chosen to to be a part of.
Yeah, I often tell Raheem, that you ain't taking me straight to hell. You ain't. I ain't going. I'm not going there with you. You know me in my mouth. I'm like, well, now wait a minute, brother. That's not the way it works now. Like, it can be some years go by where I don't have garments or whatever the case may be, or I didn't go and do my new, because y'all know we do garments like
Yes,
seasons.
yes,
The three of us, like, we do
yes,
garments like seasons. We be hunting it down. And
yes.
so not only are they protectors, but the maintenance part is important too. Now, we already know the Muslims gonna stand in rank if anybody happen to name one of the sisters. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is, the maintenance part is a whole completely segment from the protection part. And that's where I think that a lot of what I've seen and personally experienced, um, gone like bad it was like man down, he ain't got it, he ain't got it, man down, and it's not to say that he wasn't capable of getting it. It's just that, truth be told, he was not educated and he
Yes.
was not taught appropriately, or he got jailhouse
Yes.
Islam from prison inappropriately, And I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with Islam in prison, but the mindset and the thinking is a little bit more different
Yeah.
when you are confined and inside of institutions than when you are a free person on the street, on the bricks, as they put it.
Mhm. But I wanted to go back to when she was talking about the Quran, right? And
Mhm.
the men being responsible for women. That's a very, y'all don't realize. I think some people don't realize the weight of being a Quran is on a
Yeah.
man.
Oh yeah.
Because at the end of it all, he is the. Because people always like, they think of leadership as like when you go to work, your boss, blah 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 blah. But think about when you go to work, you listen to what your boss tell you to do. But
Right.
then
Right.
people go
Right.
to their
Right.
husbands and then won't listen to what they're telling them. And my thing is, if you can't get on your husband's program, then he's not the person for you.
Mm.
But also, men taking their responsibility as the Quran seriously, because you are supposed to advise us on what things we should be doing. That even includes friendships. I've heard of women like, if he tell me about my friends, like, no. Some, I'm sorry, some of our friends are sick. Some of
Right.
them are.
That part.
It
So
is
Yeah.
what it is. But again, like I said, if you're not on his program, then don't put yourself into a situation where you're sinning because you're not obeying your husband, and you're
Yeah.
making your husband's life more hard and more difficult than it needs to be. And I think, when it comes to polygyny, I hear a lot of women be like, oh, I'm monogamous. I would never marry a man that's they want to do polygyny. But yeah, I've seen women stay with a man that they know cheated on them. Sis, you're in polygyny. Like, sis, you're in polygyny right now. But with polygyny, you have rights. And as a man, you have to uphold those rights that Allah has told you that you have to do. If you cannot do it, you should not get married. Whether that's emotionally supporting her, whether that's mentally supporting her, whether that's financially supporting her. You have to have all those things lined up. If you don't, take fast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what Allah told you to do. Fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And and I wanted to add this as well. The weight is not just solely on the brother, because here's the thing: ignorance will have you participating in bid'ah. So here's the other portion of the serving of information. Learn what the sunnah entails. Take the time to actually participate in the class, because then that way you know your rights. That way you know what he should be doing, and you know what you should be doing. And
Mm-hmm.
then one little bit of counsel that I like to interject is, you're not doing it for him. You're doing it for a loss of Panawata Island. And that gotta be in your frontal, the front of your
The
brain. Like,
focus that
I'm
to be
not
on
doing
the
it for
forefront.
him.
Absolutely.
I'm doing this for law, and he will benefit. He will benefit from the things that I'm doing for a loss of Panawata Island. So your
Yeah.
mindset has to be, I
Yeah.
want to learn, because the only way you fall in love with your Lord and our beloved Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and your husband, because here's the thing: we don't date, we don't have concubine, we don't have nothing on the side. We meet, we get a wali, we have that sit down, and then we handle the business. There should be a nikah shortly after, if in
That
fact
part.
you all can agree on the terms.
Yeah. That part.
And it's nothing in between that.
Mm-hmm.
So when these brothers are like, let me take you to the movies, no, we don't do that. That's not the sunnah. That's not what we do. It is not what a law subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained.
And then,
So
yeah, I agree.
so it's to your benefit
But
to
you know what?
learn.
But you know what? Go ahead. It's your benefit to learn.
I was going to say to the sister, it is your benefit to learn the roles of the husband and the wife. One of the things that, and this is just my own personal experience, when I knew I was about to marry, I had over maybe $30,000 worth of art in my home. Guess what? I opened my doors and told folks to come get it because it was faces. Because I did not want to bring a man into a household that was not conducive to, because I was, again, still learning. So I didn't want to invite, a man into my household or me into his household where we knew there were things that was not conducive to the religion.
Yeah.
So you got to actuate your mind to, and understand that you're going to have to make some concessions. And you're going to have to learn what true submission is. And true submission does not mean that you're oppressed. It just simply means that you are submissive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I promise you, your husband will benefit from that.
Absolutely. And guess what,
But
sis?
it's not about women.
It's a couple of,
my thing, I don't deviate from and submission and all that kind of stuff. But my thing is, as a man, you gotta be strong enough to have leadership ability to somebody to submit to. If you don't know what you're doing, you have no idea. Like,
Sister Safia, you going in and out.
You sounding like you underwater, sis. You sounded like you underwater, sis, and now you froze. She froze.
So in the midst of it,
so what I wanted to say is that in lieu of education, because that's what we do, we're educators or whatever. Here we go. People don't even know.
Yes.
Yep, you bet. Yeah. People don't even know.
The only thing is,
okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say the only thing that I would have to disagree about is that it is solely on the brothers. It really is. Let me tell you why. The reason why I feel like that is because women are not going to be, we're going to be asked about ourselves, but the man is going to be asked about the whole entire family. He has raised men above women. Period.
And I agree, but I beg to differ, and I must have to say this. Our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, it is senior moment. He talks about doing racing to do good deeds.
What?
Now let's just say you happen to have a man, again, you happen to decide you want to be with a mate that may not be emotionally intelligent, or because loving someone or caring about someone oftentimes will motivate you to change. Can we agree on that? It'll oftentimes motivate you to change. So so as you get to know, when you meet a brother, y'all had to sit down and you're getting to know him. He don't really know nothing about you. You guys are just getting to learn. And you're developing this rhythm. And he may come with some idiosyncrasies that you just don't agree with, and that's not in harmony with the sunnah.
Mm-hmm.
So verily, the reminder benefits the believer. And the reason that I stress the knowledge portion of it is because you need to remind him. He's human, he's sinful, and he's a man. And we know how sometimes they can get distracted.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that to say, we have to also be in position to be able to remind them of what they need to be doing. I feel like it's a team effort in marriage. I don't feel like it should ever be, and I get it. I understand that Allah has elevated, men over women, but I also believe that there should be a partnership. Like, for example, having adult children. Sometimes your adult children will test the waters with your marriage. And I had to learn to say to my adult children, let me ask my husband. I've never been a sister to say, let me ask my husband, because this is what I'm doing and this is how this thing is going to go down. So that was a quality that I had to learn, if that makes any sense. That was something that
I'm sorry, no, finish.
Oh, I was saying
my mom be running a mile a minute.
Yeah. So those were some things that I had to learn. And had I not learned those things, by reading about our beloved Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his beautiful, amazing, the mothers of Islam. Listen, I would not have had an example, because oftentimes, yes, our mothers teach us something, our aunties teach us something, but that true, virtuous, submissive woman, it don't mean that you're weak. It does not mean that you don't have a voice. It simply means that when he is rigid and he's not willing to bend, then I need to just chill. I need to just, pause it, let things calm down, and then approach it at another time. And when I'm feeling rigid and I don't want to bend, then I need him to compromise. Then I need there to be some compromise. I don't feel like it should be all on the man, because people are fallible and they forget.
Right.
I
think that we were kind of talking about two different points. As far as like men being responsible, because we're all responsible for our own being and reminding each other.
Yes.
When I was talking about responsibility, I mean responsibility of the leadership of the family, just in totality.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Because even like I had a situation one time where it was all these women bickering and fighting. The husband was in the group chat and he said nothing inappropriate.
SubhanAllah.
Inappropriate. Yeah. You're the man. You are supposed to, and on top of being a man, you are in leadership. You're in leadership.
Listen,
you're going to be questioned about that.
And that just goes back to humanistic behaviors. And here's the truth. And this is why I'm so against these days. Now, I'm not saying back when polygamy and it came down, the order, was good back then. I'm just saying nowadays.
It's still good now. It's still good now.
Hold on.
We're not going to do that. They not good.
I'm telling you why. I'm just giving you why I am in opposition to what you said in regards to the men, when you said that entire circle and that chat or whatever was going on in that chat. I'm responding to that particular male's behaviors, because he is not. But we're talking about religiously sound and equipped enough with emotional stuff. Instead, he got emotional baggage instead of emotional strength and spiritual maturity to be able to handle either of the women that was involved. Now, sometimes, and what I've seen in my practice, I should say, because, families, that's my thing. I do that all day, every day. And what I have seen is that the moment the male, right, when they are seeking healthy relationships for themselves, both in Islam, within their community, and outside within what we do, therapy, right? And when they are doing that and someone shows them who they are and what they are presenting, then and only then does the actual skill be built for them to even handle all the fitna that go on between the wives. Now, and I see that all the time. So, and then that can be straightened out. But that's one of the main reasons, because sisters, it gets turned against one another during that type of situation. So if you're not healthy enough, and I've seen people where they say they can handle it, and then they get in it, and they don't get the car because they got a car. They don't get the house because they got a house. They don't get
we're not talking about women.
The week because they got 500 a week, and treating them equally. That's not it. But let me just say one more point before
justly.
I wanted to say that because I'm reading here, I want to educate real quick, because people always think that they know. They think they know what polygamy is. They really, really think they know. They don't even know that there are different types, 3 to be exact, of polygamy. Even from group, if you really, really, really want to get into it, and Quran talks about that, Hadiths talk about that, it all talks about that. They go to Webster. That's where they go to. We go to the masjid. We go to Quran. We go to Hadith. We go to where we know we're going to get proof. Islam is about proof. We bring the proof to the people, bottom line. So if they don't know, they Google Webster. So I Googled Webster. So I wanted to see what it said versus what I know our Islamic books tell us. You know what I'm saying? And all it talks about is sexual pleasures. That's what Webster said.
Yeah, but we don't even practice all of those other
That's
things.
what Webster said.
But,
So this is the mindset of the individual that is out there. And most of the time, if, like you said when you first came on, sis, if the husband is not taking responsibility to educate and to teach and be that leader inside of the household, they're gonna Google it.
Wait, but you know what I want to add to? But you know what? I have met no man that practices polygyny, that is taking care of his wives like he's supposed to, ever say, you know what? I did all this for some vagina. Because at the end of the day, they be like, "Dick stressed me out."
I know some couples that are in polygamous situations. I know, and they do well together. And here's the other component that's so important. The women in the North Americas, I'm just going to talk about where we at. They are not conditioned for this.
Wait,
they're not conditioned for it. So they don't understand it.
So let's not talk about women at all, because we're going to talk about women.
But I'm going to get to let me make my point. I'm not going to hear what I'm saying. So if the men don't understand, because again, they're looking at the physical attributes of the woman. Listen, how often, and we know this, brothers are very visual. That ain't going to change just because they Muslim. They're very visual creatures. Men are very visual.
Yeah.
Let Sister Falan with the shapely shape, and even though she's covered appropriately,
because that's how it works.
That's how it works. Right. And because I've seen it where he's not focusing on, he's looking for somebody young, a new shahada, some of them, I'm not saying all of them, and he's not thinking, well, what does she even know about our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? I've been at khutbahs where the brother is laying the imam is laying the brothers out because they're marrying women that are inexperienced and have no knowledge of the deen. They have no knowledge of the deen. So you have a young wife, you're ignorant, and you're not educating her on what it is. And then fine, if you want to take on a second wife, do it in kindness. Don't cook your neck bones and then go, because that's your cue that you're just going to go get a new wife, because brothers have signals. Don't put on your new jalabab or your new thal, and next thing you know, you come back and be like, yeah, this sister, I don't know, again, Falan, and we just got married, because it's cruel.
Yeah,
because even though it is your right, there is another way that it can be done.
Yes.
Where it does not appear cruel to the sister, because again, culturally, we are not equipped, and emotionally, we may not be equipped to handle that.
Yeah.
So it's how the brother goes about doing it. And that's all I got to say on
that. But also too, I want to talk about what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in his last khutbah, about treating women kindly. Like that's literally what his last khutbah was talking about, treating women kindly.
And it's not kind.
That's not kind.
Yeah, and that's my point. It's not kind to you leave out the house, I don't know, at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by the time you back, I don't know, at Maghrib, Isha, you telling the sister, yeah, I went and got married. I think that that's one of the cruelest things that you could do. I think that people need a moment to process information and be able to prepare their heart, because listen, I have, and I also think that sisters have to, I shouldn't say that, but I know for me, just being gracious, you know what I mean? Like, I know what it is. I know, that it's his right. So I'm not going to be on his, back saying, this is what, you don't go do this, brother, to me, or don't do that to me. But I will remind my husband that this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. This is what our beloved companion, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and I will take him to the literature to show him, and again, going back to, sisters being educated.
Bam. I was about to say, knowledge is power, says, come on with it.
It is.
So I'm one of them. I'm gonna show him, listen, this is what it says. And we also want to talk about with these brothers how our beloved prophet didn't marry for beauty. That was the last thing. There are 4 things that you marry for. Piety being at the top of the list.
That's right.
And you was on something, sister. You want me to shut up?
No, she agreeing.
No, I was agreeing. I was like,
Yeah.
no, I wasn't like saying no. I was saying like one.
Yeah, drop
So
it. That's one.
so understanding when you are building your family, why are you even marrying this sister?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the brothers educating themselves on that, the 4 reasons to marry, and beauty is the last thing. Having a cute little figure, that ain't even on the list. Piety is first and foremost. And then a lot of times they built alliances. His marriages were based on alliances.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And financial structure, things put in place financially. So a lot of times, you coming to the table and you expecting her to be the provider, and then you don't understand why y'all arguing.
That part right there.
Let me tell you something. I'm glad you just said it, because I'm glad you ended with that, because you know what I always tell people, if I'm going to be participating in my own maintenance, we roommates. We roommates. So please don't come in here talking about in my house.
Yeah. What was that?
I just work 40 hours a week too, bro.
No, you ain't worked 40, sis.
Even though as a wife, we're the queen of the house, but Roberto Bates, I think it's pronounced.
Right.
But no, don't kick your shoes off. Don't do none of that kind of stuff. No, we roommates, bro.
Yeah.
And see, the brothers don't
understand. Clean up your side of the room.
Because it's a mentality, and I'm not saying that it's right. It's a mentality that when you place on your wife attributes that are yours, and then you wonder why she's acting masculine.
Ooh, wait. Ooh.
It's a mentality. It's a mentality.
Yeah, that's true.
You and I talked about this a few days ago when the prophet, our beloved prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said how the men would begin to act like women and the women would begin to act like men.
Do you not see it today? Okay.
And there is some confusion in the roles, without a doubt.
Yeah.
There's some confusion in the roles. And one of the ugliest things, and I'm going to talk about me, is I don't oftentimes know when to be quiet. And I feel like that is a very ugly thing about me. And I think, men need to also, and that's just my stuff, but I also feel that men need to be able to diffuse it using what our beloved prophet may say, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or using what Allah said. Don't give me your opinion on it, because the heart is most satisfied upon seeing evidence. Take me to the Quran. Take me to some. You listen. You better bring out the thicker sunnah. You better bring something out that is going to support. What what you trying to tell me. Like, for example, I'm gonna give you another example. Beatings. Like, I've heard brothers say, "Yeah, I could beat my wife." How do you educate give her the full stories? What I'm saying is, don't give people bits and parcels of what the hadith is. Give them the full story. Give them the full information. By all means, help assist with educating her, because she should be educating herself as well.
Right.
But more importantly, I feel like brothers need to not do it until they are really ready. Like, I get it, marriage is the sunnah, but what's the hurry? What is the hurry when y'all going to possibly make a mistake, create some children? Now so y'all not working, you got a broken family, and there's a child now involved in this situation.
And then you go do it again. Because your issue is unaddressed. But I wanted to say something about what you wrote right here. This is really good right here. A husband, therefore, has the responsibility of taking care of his wife, protecting her, defending her honor, and fulfilling her needs regarding her religion and her worldly life, and the worldly life. And in polygamy, that's more than one wife. You have to do that equally for them all.
You have to be just.
First wife.
Justly.
Just,
yes.
Because it's really a confusion out in this world about just, because let me tell you something.
Yeah, I would like to
listen.
That.
Wait, because listen, I was telling somebody, they was like, because if he do that for, he got to do that for me. Let me tell you something, sis. I don't like flowers.
Right,
if you like flowers,
right.
You better not come to my house with some flowers.
Right.
That's a problem.
Yeah, right.
That's a problem for me.
If
I have 5 kids, if I have 5 kids and you think you're going to give me $200 for food, but you have no kids and you get $200 for food, that's fairness, but it's not just.
Okay. I understand that.
I was about to say, break that down.
I get that.
So what would just look like? Give us
an example. Would be like, for example, in a household, like I'm going to say hypothetically, is like for each person in one household to get $50 per person for food. That would be justice, because if I have 5 people, I'm going to get $50 per person for the 5 people, and if I have 2 people, you're going to get $50 per person for that house. That would be just. Fairness would be everybody just getting $200 flat.
And then I also think with let's just say she has her own home. So here's the thing: they're sisters, mashallah, they have their own home. They own their homes. Your part of it might be, we may agree upon, and again, this is a polygamous situation. We may agree upon, you just go ahead and take care of the mortgage, and sister Falan, and I hate to keep saying her name is Falan, but she may not own a home. Well, then I'm one of them sisters. I don't care that you help sister Falan purchase a home. To me, that's sadaqah.
Yeah, that's
sadaqah. And more importantly, it's just because if this brother has, and I got to talk about this, and I know we're talking about the brothers tonight, but me being an older sister, again, maturation comes along with this, whether it's with the sister, whether it's the brother. Just being mature about it, and that word kindness. Let's just talk about kindness just for a minute. And I say that because I'm not going to be arguing with my husband because he's helping her get a house for her children, or he's helping her get a home because our beloved prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, it's going to come a time when a man is going to be responsible for 50 women. Who's to say that we all won't be up in that joint? So, I'm saying that to say, by all means, the brother should be just, but I also think that, us sisters, us Muslims, we got to work with them. We got to work with them. It should not be, oh, you just bought her a house. Well, I want a new house too, but you already own a home.
That part.
Yeah. But to me, that's selfishness. Like, just being selfish and you being
greedy, but it exists, right?
And at the end of it all, it does. At the end of it all, what I want people to really understand is that polygyny, for real, is for women.
It really is
women,
because we outnumber the men. Let's talk about it.
Women, because at the end of the day, if as a Muslim woman, let me say something. I would never want to be a man. I'm sticking right here. I'm supposed to be taking care of all of my life, whether that's from my father, whether that's my uncle, whether that's my husband, whether that's my sons. I'm supposed to be taking care of all of my life.
Wow.
From men.
Yeah, pretty much. Brother, uncle, all of them, all the men, period.
All the men.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So let's do a hypothetical. So if the brothers could remove the physical pleasures, I think that if they could just do that, just hypothetically, and to help them get to another level of intimacy with their wives, all of them, you know what I mean? And and that intimacy has nothing to do with anything physical. When my husband is speaking Arabic, listen, I'm thoroughly ready to go. To me, that's intimate. That's powerful for me. And when people are no longer focusing on the physical stuff, you know what I mean? And they're focusing on, Allah's word, or what's something our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. When you're focusing on that, when y'all praying together, when y'all reading together, when you guys are eating together, when y'all, and we call it book fighting, just book fighting. And just, you know what I mean? And sharing that experience, getting to being able to have a meal with all of your wives and you're talking about it maturely. You know what I mean? Because see, here's the thing: how you get to be able to do that, you need to be able to get to know her. You understand? Like, you need to be able to get to know her. You know what I mean? And so you see that because a lot of women,
I'm not interested.
huh? Say it again.
I ain't interested.
Well, I'm
I ain't
saying the
interested.
reason I'm saying it
Well,
is
I am.
because
I would like to be involved in the whole process.
No, because you
especially
know
if
what?
I'm
No, because
first
you
wife.
no, because you know what? No, I'm gonna tell you why I always like I'm not interested. It's not that I wouldn't get to know her if she like, yes, let's develop a relationship. I'm trying to get rid of him. I don't want us to have the topic of the conversation to be him. Like sis, like what?
but
Because
I'm
when you first
saying
start
when
bonding,
when the
it be
situation.
about you bonding around the house. Like,
Oh,
girl, leave me
But
alone.
here's the
I got
thing.
rid of him. Like,
But
right.
if
I
it's
needed some help in the first place. Thank you.
and I get that, but if it's an ideal situation,
Right.
you're not. Listen, you have
yeah,
some sisters
I get
again
it.
that are
No,
not
I'm
mature,
with
and
you.
and brothers, and they're wondering what's going on. You know, when he's there. You know what I mean? Or calling on, or the brother not shutting it down because the sister keep calling on another sister's night.
Yes.
Like when the brother don't shut it down. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And he's entertaining the
Yes.
conversation and not saying, "Hey, this is, her night, and you need to
That's
respect the fact
messy.
that it's her night." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's what
Mhm.
keep the confusion going when he does not create, by all means, create boundaries between the wives. But
Mm-hmm.
also,
Mhm.
there should be points in this situation where they need to get to know each other, because let's just say that they got children going to the same school. Let's say there's an emergency within the family and she can't go get her kids.
A lot
Well,
of stuff.
her,
Yeah.
huh?
It could be anything.
And
Mhm.
listen, let me say something.
And when the communication needs to be done.
Yes.
Period.
Listen. And so you have a
Mhm.
sister who not only is your sister in Islam, but you have another layer of support. You have another layer of support that any event
Mhm.
that there's an emergency and you can't get it done, she can get it done. You know what I mean? Or pick up the children or whatever that looks like. Or,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, shop in bulk and y'all split the food, whatever that looks like.
Right.
But that was the intended purpose of part of this. Like, yeah, by all means, there was bickering among our mothers, meaning the mothers of Islam, but there was bickering, but it was
About the
also
same thing.
a lot of love there.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot, and it was jealousy. Don't get it twisted, but they loved each other. They
But
loved each
wasn't the
other.
men going off to war and that's how all this got started?
No,
So tell the people, how did it get started? Because that's the misconception.
Well, they need to read the story of Abraham. There you go. Like, pick up the
so
book, open
so
it, and
Sarah
just read
did
it.
not. And then I think it's something that should be welcoming. Listen, I'm one of them sisters. I welcome it. I'm not going to lie. I've
I
always
do
welcomed
too.
it.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
actually prefer it. I actually prefer it
you see my eyes, right? I
because
I
I
listen,
need
welcomed it.
all the help I could
you
get
know,
with
because
OG.
no, but you know what? Because no,
Okay?
all of us are no, but you got to think about it. All of us have a lot of stuff already on our plate, right? And I think that what people don't understand, us as women, when you have a lot on your plate, you glad to get rid of some responsibility. So I mean, let's be honest. Men are big freaking babies. They get sick. Oh, I'm dying. Like, no,
Uh-huh.
you're
Oh
not dying.
my goodness.
You ain't dying. Big
But I
freaking
also
My
baby.
mom
feel,
used
So
to
if you
say, "You got a son, and you know who I was married to." Sis, both of
yes,
y'all know all the marriages. My mom used
yes.
to say, "Oh, you done got another son?
like, come on,
Excuse me,
they
I
are
ain't never have a boy in my life."
big
And
babies.
her, according to her,
You don't want to
yes, you
share
did.
that. You don't want to share that he's sick
but
for
but I'm
7 days.
going
You
to
got him for
say this.
3.
This is another benefit of it. When I was having health issues, it broke my heart that I could not give my husband his rights when I was having health issues. I could not give him his rights, and I felt like the kindest thing that I could do for him was to be in a, and even though he did not ask for that,
Mm-hmm.
I volunteered. I feel that it would be a great idea for you to get you a co-wife.
Mm-hmm.
Go do what you gotta do. You have rights. You can get up. You can get up to 3 more. You got me. I feel like it is an act of sadaqah, act of kindness, because at the end of the day, I really wasn't thinking about him. He benefited from my mindset, but I was thinking about pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what I was thinking about.
That's awesome.
And he would have benefited from that, because not only would he have gotten his rights, but he would have got a taste of somebody else's cooking. I don't know, even though I do the
Ain't nobody cooking better than yours.
I'm sorry.
Listen,
When that
sometimes it
little
makes them
short one right
appreciate
there,
you more.
when that
Listen,
little short one right there gets
But I'm
started,
sorry.
that
I'm
little
not gonna
short one
lie.
right there, that one right there.
I'm sorry. For me, it's pure selfishness. I wish I had the piety of yours. Like that is for
Yeah,
Allah,
got
but
it.
it's
She
for
definitely
me.
has it.
Like because I'm sorry. Like I just need those because I'm the type of woman that if I'm in a marriage, I would put me on a back burner quick.
I'm the same way.
Let me cook every day. Let me wash his feet. Let me make sure of this. Let me make sure of that. And I start to get consumed with taking care of him because
Yes.
I love him,
Yes.
and I don't get time for me. And those days that
Mhm.
he's gone is for me.
Yeah.
But don't
And
you
to
feel
wind
like
down and do some self care.
But don't you feel that he should say, and this is something that's developed throughout a marriage, he should say, listen, on Sunday, my husband take care of that laundry.
Mhm.
It be down there like a laundromat. Not only do it smell like a laundromat, but he be having that fluff and fold thing going on. So
Okay.
it'd be so beautiful. And I feel that
But
and I feel like it has to be, again, a give and take. Again, those are the days
absolutely,
when, those are the days when he needs to
that's what the
say,
prophet did.
oh, absolutely, mashallah. And to me, that is the best example of, how to be a man and how to act as a Qawam. Because on those days when I don't feel like it, and listen, tonight, I was just saying to my husband, babe, I don't feel like doing nothing. Been cooking all week since Ramadan started, but I cook all the time anyway. He was like, all right, don't worry about it. Let's go let's go to Five Guys and get something.
Mhm.
And that type of grace, that type of,
Yeah. Beautiful.
So I think that that's important. And again, I think that that's something that's listen, both of us have been married multiple times. And I feel like it's really important to learn from what didn't work before.
Yeah,
I think that
absolutely.
that's a very important thing. And I think a lot of brothers don't stop and pause to understand what the lesson was and why that marriage didn't work before they jump into another situation.
Ooh, tell my story.
Yeah, and I think and I just feel like people need to take a breath, stop and pause, go get you some counseling. I mean, from a secular perspective and from a spiritual perspective, go get the necessary counseling that you need, because you're ruining lives. They're casualties of your war, and not only is it the wife, but then if there are children involved, and let's say she got children from a previous marriage, now you got another brother up in arms because you brother number 6, that's been around his children.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So that's why I feel that brothers got to just take a moment and you got to make it up in your mind, brothers, that you want it to work and you're willing to do the work and you're going to do whatever it takes to get the work done.
Yeah, maintain your emotions,
Yes.
maintain your Islam, do what you got to do, and
But how
prepare.
about this? If you don't know, it's okay to say you don't know.
Ask
Go
questions.
find it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you don't understand, if you don't know, if you are, new to if you are new revert, I don't say we convert, but if you are new revert,
Right.
then go to the masjid, take some classes, get up under the older brothers. I'm talking about the older seasoned brothers. You know what I mean? And learn about manhood. A lot of our brothers, if you ask them who was their male role model growing up, they can't tell you one.
Yeah.
They can't. So if they've come from a broken situation, we as the Muslims, we can't expect them to come into our lives as husbands and be whole.
And be all healthy.
And be whole. I had to tell my husband, listen, this is what I saw my father do. My father came home with his paycheck, put it on the table, paid all the bills, gave us our allowance, and gave my mother the rest, and went around the corner to Ted's and got his Budweiser. I'm just saying that he wasn't Muslim. So I'm just saying, and went and spent time with his friends. But I'm saying that to say, take care home first. She shouldn't be responsible for paying your rent, giving you her food stamps, and all those things. That's backwards. And you shouldn't want to accept it because it's shameful. That's not what Qawams do. And this is not an opportunity. We're not taking this time to chastise, men. We just want to let the brothers know, listen, it's some beautiful sisters out here, but you need to educate yourself on how to care for them.
Facts.
Mm.
Facts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You did a good job, sister, on that topic. You tore that out the frame. But me and you, we used to talk about that all the time. All the
Yeah.
time. We used to talk about that all
And
the
you know that I'm very sincere about that because I came to you
Yeah.
and was like, look, what's up?
Yeah, you did. I remember. I'll never forget.
You know, and because this journey right now, it's not about us. And I think that when the Ummah, as individuals, but collectively as a Ummah, when we begin to wrap our mind around
Mm-hmm.
this dunya is so temporary,
Yeah.
you know, it's temporary, you know. So I think we got to wrap our minds around, you know, because they said
Uh-oh.
75%,
She
was it
disappeared.
75% of the wives are going to be in the hellfire because they complained about our beloved prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that because they complained about their husbands.
Is it
Well, it's
75? It's supposed to be a
75%.
bigger number. Is it a bigger number than that?
It's 75%.
Wow.
And the brothers, again, you know, it's not just going to be on us. You guys are going to be held accountable for what you didn't do in reference to providing for your household,
Yeah.
keeping your wife in kindness. And if you decide to leave her in kindness.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
And if you, again, and I think it's important. I think the therapeutic component is important. If you're struggling with mental health, this something so amazing is happening, and it's like where faith meets mental health. And I don't mean to
That's
pull
beautiful.
that together like that, but this thing is happening and it's so amazing.
It's beautiful.
So it's no excuse for people to not, because now I'm reading a book, Islamic counseling. So so you can't say, oh, they can't relate to what I'm going through because
Powerful.
they're not Muslim, because we got something. Listen, Allah is
It's
our
out there.
Razak.
The tools is out there. It's out there.
Yes. And I'm no pun on words, sister, but
No,
you know, with
no,
your brand, but you know, it is an amazing thing to be able to combine the two, because right now is very necessary because we all under pressure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
really
It's a
are.
beautiful thing. I have that. I have that same book. That's the book you sent me electronically, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Beautiful book. A
Mm-hmm.
beautiful book. One of the Islamic brothers just resigned from where my 9 to 5 is, and he was like, "Remember that book you told me?" I was like, "Okay, I'll email it to you now because you're leaving, so you better hurry up and download it and print it out and do all that stuff." So I'll pass it along. It's a good book,
Yeah, I am
full
just,
of techniques.
you know, praying for our brothers because unfortunately the divorce rate is really high. And I feel that people allow too much interference in the marriage. When a husband takes on a wife, nobody else should be in it.
Mm-hmm.
Not even the second wife. You should not. And I just listened to a clip by the night, and they was talking about how you shouldn't be going to your second wife, talking about the first wife or the third wife or however that thing go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
Because as
can
soon
I
as,
add on to that though?
yes,
And I just want to add a little piece on it. And even if you divorce that sister, you still shouldn't do it. First of all, it's still backbiting. But also, too, what if you want to reconcile?
right, right, right.
Because
Yeah.
I've had that happen where my co-wife
Ooh.
cheated on my husband. You told me, and then now I'm mad that I don't want to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I like my body the way I came into the marriage to
Okay.
stay
Right,
the same.
right.
And you like to leave with the same body intact.
Absolutely.
Intact.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not with guilt stuff.
So, but
That's why I think it's important that they be mindful too of the age. You marrying somebody that's 18, and granted, culturally, if we were in Africa, you can marry them when they start their menses. The
Mm-hmm.
beloved prophet married Aisha radiallahu anha when she started her menses, even though people don't even know the real story behind that. They be like, oh, she was 5. No, get all the facts before you start talking crap. But I'm saying that to say, culturally here in the United States, people are not prepared or conditioned to think in this manner. You
Correct.
know,
I agree.
we are Africans in America.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real clear. And our people, we know how they came over here, and the cultural part component of who we are was destroyed. It was devastated. We know that. It was removed. Because if we was in Africa, we'd be somebody's wife at 12 moving in our hut.
Mm-hmm.
But no, but you know what? I
That
want to get
part.
onto that. Do you know, like, even with like when people go and they, throw all the money at strippers, I have watched African videos where they do that, but it wasn't in a sexual manner. It was just them doing it because the woman did a good job with just dancing. Like it was not sexual.
Right.
Pouring alcohol on the grave. Something that started in Africa. Like a lot of the stuff that even though it may have
Yep.
been lost in
Yep.
as why we do it, but we still be doing stuff that is from our own culture.
Yep. But if people are not, so you and I, you and Fatima, we understand it because we're continuing to further our education and enlighten ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say the average Falan, and she's a young woman.
We gotta get her a new name.
Okay. No, Falan, that's what we call her, sis. Falan.
But you understand, she might not understand. Okay, so you're talking to someone that's 21. What does she really know? Because we know we continue to evolve. The way you think when you're 20, you're not going to think when you're 25. You're not going to hopefully think that way when you're 30. So, and it's no different for men, especially if men, and it goes back to this, are not emotionally intelligent. If they just physical, oh, she got a pretty face and a little slim waist, and they not really thinking about the responsibility that goes into to having to feed another mouth, to having to house another person, and if there are children involved,
and how pleasing it is to Allah. Period.
And what is your plan in taking care of this? What is your plan?
Yeah.
And a lot of brothers, unfortunately, are not going into it for the appropriate reasons.
Yeah.
But let's talk about pride, right?
Yes.
I did want to address this because because you had said something earlier that I was like, I mean, I know you got a mouth, but I don't think it's like that deep. But basically, what I wanted to say was, one of the companions, I can't remember exactly who it was, but he decided, some guy decided to go complain about his wife to one of the companions. Because he like, my wife cussed me out. She, blah, 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 blah. He got to his house. He was getting cussed out. And he stood there and he was just.
And he listened.
And when he came out, he said, "Did you need me?" He said, "Well, I was going to come to complain about my wife, but you're having the same difficulties." And he said, "She bared my children." As women, men, I want you to understand this. When a woman is giving birth to your big-headed child, the closest thing to death that she will ever be. That's why she's a martyr if she die in childbirth.
Yes.
Her life is literally on the line. So when you have 2, 3, 5, 10 kids, her life was in jeopardy 10 times.
Yep.
And then let's not talk about the changes that happen every time you have a baby.
And then you feel like, oh, now she got stretch marks or she gained some weight. I'm gonna just get rid of her.
Or she looked different from what we
you know what I mean? Or the classic
after 5 kids later.
You let yourself go. That's the classic.
Oh yeah, that's it. Ooh, you hit the nail on the head with that.
And that's not keeping her in kindness. That's not adhering to the counsel, that our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him. That's not adhering to the counsel. Talking about her weight, demean, then walk with her. If she heavy, then walk with her.
Right.
One of the things that I have yet to experience, and by Allah's permission, I've never experienced this. If I'm fussing, my husband be quiet and sit there and take it. He sit there and he take it, and he might have something to talk, and that's why he be saying, you don't know when to back down. And when he says that, it makes me ashamed because I should have just left it alone, So, but that's Allah, working on me.
Right.
But I'm saying it with these brothers, don't start criticizing her and tearing her apart, after she done, gave birth to your children. And then you move on to the next sister.
But what I also too want to say is because, I always, my favorite line about, me, peace, I always have guys, they really like, oh, I like you, alhamdulillah, you're an amazing woman. I be like, yeah, the same thing you love about me right now is going to be the same thing that you want to
hate me later.
And that's why, was it the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or Allah? He said,
you might dislike one thing about her, but it was much, other goodness. I know
Yep.
I'm paraphrasing, so it's not word for word.
No, I understand.
Yeah. So my thing is being mindful of that. Being mindful. I have a lot of shortcomings. I have a lot. But the things that I have to offer will make you great.
Hello.
And that's why they can't get too caught up on the physical things, the physical attributes. Your concern needs to be her level of piety. Your concern needs to be her love for Allah. You need to be praying, and I'm just saying, for a woman that's going to love Allah more than she love you. Because if my husband say taqwallah, please believe the mouth is closed,
Right.
and I'm gonna go quietly into that kitchen and get that skillet cooked, on the stove and do what I got to do. And it's not because I fear my husband or he's oppressive. It is because I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm and he got the final say. My husband just benefit from me shutting my mouth.
What
you laughing at, Zai?
Guys, listen, I know, I understand. I understand because I get a bad rep of I don't know when to be quiet. And yeah, like, cause I'm passionate. I just feel like let's reframe words instead of saying, oh, you don't know when to be quiet, but like, yeah, you know what, Zai or Asia, you're really passionate about this issue that we're having.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that's a whole different shift in how the communication may be happening.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that women have to recognize their power. And I'm going to say it like this. You fed them. You done rubbed his shoulders a little bit. You might have took care of some other business, and that's when you had that conversation, when it's quiet, when it's calm, when he's at ease, because he's going to be at ease. I will never forget, and I'm just using this as an example. For my 50th birthday, we were supposed to be going to go get my husband a car, and we ended up buying me a car. Sometimes you have to pick your battles. Sometimes you have to be. Sometimes you have to use discernment and pray for that, and pray for sabr. And in the midst of sabr, don't complain, don't whine, and then at a later time, go back and get your point across. And it's more effective, I promise you.
Yes, and don't be like me, because I'm a track star. I'm a runner. I'm trying to get better at that.
Well, I used to be. I'm doing pretty good now.
Right.
I'm doing pretty good these days.
Yeah, I'm trying to get better at that. Like, not just giving up like at the first sign of struggle. Like, I ain't got time for this, because with me, I ain't arguing with me.
Right.
But the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let me tell you something. Someone is going to come, and he is not going to allow your feet to move.
Mm-hmm.
I have divorced my husband over 1,000,000 gazillion bazillion times.
Oh God!
And for whatever reason, and I'm telling you this, for whatever reason,
yes,
I will be sitting here listening to a khutbah, and Allah will be talking directly to my foolishness. He will be talking directly to me, and
then you're married again.
Say it again.
And then you're married again.
Yes, but I don't say I'm looking. I want a cooler. I just be saying I'm divorced. Listen, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. And then I am reminded of some of the trials and tribulations that our beloved mothers went through, and we ain't going through nothing. Khadija radiallahu anha was reduced to eating grass. Her sacrifice. We couldn't begin. I know for me, and I'm gonna just keep it 100. I don't know if I could allow it to get down to that, making those type of concessions or sacrifices for not only my husband, but people I don't even know, because she followed her husband, our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I'm saying that to say, it's a lot for us still to learn. It's so many lessons in the midst of the chaos. It's lessons in the midst of the, marriage when you're going through trial and tribulation. And one of the biggest lessons I learned was when my husband does something that's inappropriate, the lesson wasn't for him. It was for me. It was to see, are you going to jump ship? Are you going to come out your garments? You know what I mean? How are you going to handle this?
And act crazy.
And that's why I said,
Mm-mm.
Even when brothers are in the midst of their ignorance, still try to hang in there. And I'm talking to the sisters now, still try to hang in there, continue to educate yourself. But pick your battles. Everything ain't got to be war every day.
Mhm.
Ain't got to be war every day. You supposed to be trying to create a peaceful
But
environment
you
for
know,
him.
but
Go ahead.
too, I want to add to that though. Some things don't even like. Why are you even mad at that? Like sometimes it be like I'll be hearing people and they be like, "Why you not mad?" I be like, "Why would I be?" Because we make in our mind based on perception what is right and wrong, and some things is just preference.
Mm-hmm.
It's a preference. Like I see it over here. She's a clean freak. That's her preference. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? She probably want to knock my hair clean off my shoulders.
Nope. You know what I would do? I would come in and be like, "Oh, make me something to eat," and then I start doing what I do because it's therapeutic for me. And then this is another.
But
Um,
that's my point that I was trying to
yeah.
make is that when you realize that you have differences, instead of trying to hold someone to your standards,
Mhm.
just keep holding
Ooh, I
you
used to
to
have
your
that
standards.
very bad. I used to have that very bad,
But I
very bad
think
in that
I,
area.
I think again we gotta allow each other grace, just like we
Mhm.
gotta allow our husbands grace. And we gotta really understand what sober means. And I really had to understand that because I had the mindset of a man. I was married 5 times. I was not sticking with nobody, and I just wasn't
I'm a
having it.
track star.
And
She's a runner.
hmm,
I said she's a runner.
I,
He
I was.
was,
I
was.
was.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm being honest.
Man,
I
Charlotte.
was. But you know what? We oftentimes say how our secrets keep us sick.
Yeah.
And once I began to expose my vulnerabilities, my idiosyncrasies, because please know this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ain't going to leave you in a mess.
No.
Like he either going to fix it or he going to call you to peace.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that even if I could not trust the man, I needed to trust the law that he was going to handle it and take care of it,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it was.
Trust. Oh,
That part right there.
listen,
You
people
can do
don't
that.
realize how much peace your mind get when you truly trust Allah. And I'm gonna just tell this story. One time I was married and I wasn't working, and I decided to leave. I ain't had no job. I ain't know how my next bills was gonna get paid, but I walked out that door and I knew that I was gonna be God, and everything worked out. I everything just worked out.
Always that.
I built everything was paid, got a job, everything, and
Listen, and
On
that's why I said that
trust.
trust that inside, and that's why I'm saying that trust has to be implicit and like even within the marriage, because we know that a law is going to say, all right, you know what? It's time for you to go. It's something that just be in your heart. That just, for me, it's been my experience that it just be something in your heart. I knew for me that for me, taking Shahada was probably the best thing that I could ever do because it helped me stop running. It helped me stop emasculating men because I was horribly notorious for that. But it also forced me to take a good look at myself. What type of wife do I want to be?
mm-hmm.
What type of wife do I want to be? What type of person? What type of mother? What type of example did I want to set for my daughter as a wife?
Mm-hmm.
And my children said to my husband, my adult children said to my husband, "What did you do with our mother? Because he is tamed." And what they didn't understand was I wasn't tamed. I was trusting Allah.
Mm-hmm.
I was trusting Allah. And when your whole family go against you, because none of my immediate family is Muslim. And when your whole family kind of go against you, it's not that they disown me, but they go against your choice because they think, oh, what if he's a murderer? Or what if he'll kill you? You don't know him. You're marrying this man that you just met. And now 2 weeks, you've married this brother, and you all of a sudden you Muslim, like where'd that come from growing up as a Christian, so that's a huge part of trusting Allah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, because you don't know how it's going to play out. You don't know what his character is. You know nothing, but you know that you trust the law.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you know.
That
And
Yes.
he
part.
going to take care of the rest.
Always
Yeah,
that.
it feels good. And if listen, do you know how? And I'm gonna say this from my own experience. Yes. Come here. Look at my young man. He kind of grown to a young man. You know, he want to say something.
Oh, Issa.
I knew he was gorgeous. I knew it. I knew he was gorgeous. Oh man.
There go my
No,
Issa.
sir, you are
Assalamu
beautiful.
alaikum.
And yes,
that a lot
young men can be gorgeous too.
That's my
I just
boy.
wanted to say that like a lot of internal feelings within you could be solved if you just believe in Allah. Like say you're
Mashallah.
angry about something. Say you're like angry, like your car just crashed. Instead of being angry, like how am I gonna get my new car? You just believe that, you know what, Allah has it figured out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Alhamdulillah.
Yep.
Alhamdulillah. That's my man right there.
Knew it.
Been reading since he was in the womb. Been reading in the womb.
That's my
Been
baby boy.
reading in the womb. That's my man
You
right
know.
there. Alhamdulillah.
No, mashallah.
Mashallah.
And it's a piece. And too, like for myself, like when I had like let go of trying to be a man in a relationship,
Oh yes.
the peace that you like. Do you know how good it felt? Does not have to be trying to calculate bills all day long. Like, oh, I gotta pay this. 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 It just. And then, you know, now I gotta worry about man stuff. Now I'm worrying about women stuff. Now I'm worrying about me stuff, and I'm worrying about, you know, being a Muslim stuff. It was just a lot, and just taking men stuff off the table.
The plate. Off the plate. And let the man do it.
And I think that that's that higher level of surrender. I do. I think because we are groomed to be alpha females, because we are groomed to, we live in a world now where, you know, what is it? I'm a feminist and, you know, women power, you know, and all of these things that unfortunately distort the thinking of women. And I'm going to say it. These organizations or groups distort the thinking of women. And for a long time, and I've heard people say this, people felt like Muslimas were oppressed and we were being abused and we were brainwashed and we were all these things, all these derogatory things, when it's truly not the case. Because when you trust in Allah and you find that companion that you can work with, and we're going to say 80-20. If you can get 80, you can work on the 20. Or I take 75. You can work on the other percentage. But when Allah bless you with that one, you know, you gonna have to do the work. It's like asking for furniture. Oh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, can you please bless me with furniture? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might not break out the black card that week. You might get new furniture. It might be new to you, and it might be in great condition, you know, but don't always think, you know, and you correlating that to your husband. Don't always think that you're going to get somebody that's going to pay the bills. He's going to be perfect. He's going to make the bed. He's going to have manners. He's going to go shop and get the groceries. He's going to hold the door. Don't think that he may be all. Those are things that might need to be cultivated in the marriage. And
but you just got to stay long enough.
And wait for the miracle.
Yeah. And on top of that, what I want to add too is that my son said, be careful what you wish for. But my thing is feminism, like she was talking about. Let me tell you something. I know there's a lot of women out there like, yeah, I'm a feminist. Do you realize, I don't know if anybody ever really think about their ideologies. You're only free as a woman when you line up with their ideology that you should be able to do whatever it is that you want with your body. Right? And you really do have the right to do whatever it is that you want with your body. You do.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why you're not married. And you're like, I want a husband. Then you wonder why you're not this, you're not that. Let me tell you something. Anything that's worth value in this world, everything is not on for display.
I agree.
Not a doggone thing. Even the animals in the wild is covered by trees.
That part.
Anybody, any man that is comfortable with his wife's boobs hanging out, butt hanging out, all that something, you know, she could have the right to do what she wants with her body. You don't value her.
Period.
You know, it goes back to, you know, when you said that, Zai, it brought me in mind of why Muslims cover the way they cover. And it took me back to, and I want to make sure I'm where it's supposed to be, is Al Noor in the Quran, where it talks about how we are to cover, and it's in detail from the ankle, from the wrist to the ankle. But the reason for that is because women were being raped and sexually assaulted in our beloved Prophet's day. So the admonishment was so that people would know the distinction of who we were. They start tearing their garments and covering like crows, and I'm paraphrasing, but the point is, it's for your protection. And to the men, it's for her protection. It's for her protection. And right now, this
And it's
world
for
is so
their
depraved.
protection too.
Oh,
They committing zina
absolutely.
in the eye.
Absolutely.
You know.
We live in a very depraved world right now. And listen, these people do not have a problem assaulting you in broad daylight. In any manner that they choose. So it is for your protection.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this as a Muslima, I'm obedient, and I feel that because I've been in subways 6 a.m. traveling to work, and people would part out of my way like it was the Red Sea.
Yes.
Showing that respect. So I remain obedient, and by Allah's permission will continue to be obedient because I know it works and I know it's effective. And I know that there's definitely a certain level of respect that's rendered to Muslims when they are appropriate.
Absolutely.
You both know, I worked at Gardenzia. It's an all male floor. And this was before taking Shahada. I saw the difference before Shahada and I saw the difference after Shahada.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And it's a difference. People treat you different.
Huge.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ooh,
And the sad part about it though is I feel like sometimes even though the worst Muslim brother is better than the best kuffar.
Absolutely, mashallah. Yep.
Because at the end of the day, you're going to take me to Jannah, not the kuffar. But I've seen kuffar men have more respect for Muslim women than our own men. That is a disgrace.
And I think that is a problem in the Ummah. I feel that we are unfortunately, we have become so far removed from cracking a book or sitting still for an hour or two, just meditating on the teachings of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like most people don't know anything about Umar radiyallahu anhu. Most people don't know anything about Abu Bakr. Most people don't know anything about the companions that were around our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They don't know anything about them. So what do you use as your guide? What are you using as your let's just say you had the auntie that was inappropriate. So for me, I want to look for role models that can guide me. So what are these men if you don't have that positive influence in your life? What are you using as your guide to, help you through the manhood process? What does that look like for most brothers? Because most brothers, if you ask them, well, who was in your life? Was your father there? Was your uncle there? We already know systemic racism tore the family apart. Especially just with the housing piece alone. If she got an apartment, he couldn't be in it. So I'm just saying, we know is a lot of factors, but we also now have guides, people that we can look to, and even though they're not living, we have books that we could read and look toward them as mentors to teach us how we should conduct ourselves as Muslims and Muslims.
Facts.
And also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Islam started off strange,
and it will return to something strange,
and it's going to return to something strange. Don't let you be the strange one.
That's right. Mashallah.
Don't let you be the strange one.
But I want the brothers to know this podcast, because it's three Muslims, it's not to bash. It is to just verily the reminder benefits the believer. Verily the reminder benefits the believer. And it is just a reminder. This very sacred, holy time right now is a restart. It's a restart. And they just got to push restart and just get on their game.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to add to that though, because me personally, I love my Muslim brothers, even the
Me too.
ones that think I don't like them. I love you. I may not like you, but I love you, and I
Right.
love you light on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you need, if you need it, I got you. I got you. But you just got to be what you have to do the work. I can't do it for you. And I think we're living in a time too that people think that everybody is going to do stuff for them to further whatever agenda they got going on. It does not work like that. You just won't get ahead unless you're doing the work. Allah does not change the condition of the people until they change what's within themselves.
Themselves.
It does not say he's going to change the condition when you start relying on all these other people to get stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Well, and
Well,
the sad part is, instead of advising, and that's another thing, because as the Quran, you're supposed to, give your wife like, hey, you shouldn't be hanging with this person, because they bad news. But do you know I've had brothers telling sisters not to hang with people who are studying and striving, and I'm like, what? Because you don't want them to know. Because you don't want them to know.
Wow.
Like, what type of, like, I've had that happen to me. Like, really? I know I got my flaws. I know I got my hang-ups. But I'm an honest, God-fearing, inshallah, most days.
But you
Because
know what?
it's not going to be
And
consistent.
you know what? And I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna, allow Doc to jump in. We have nothing to prove to nobody but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
No.
That's
Zah.
it. That's all.
We have nothing to prove to no one, because nobody is going to give us salvation. Nobody is going to allow us into Jannah. And I'm praying for Jannatul Firdaus. I don't know about the next person, but
Amen.
And I'm saying that to say, you have to live your life like nobody's watching. You know what I mean? And that hopefully is with integrity. Like nobody is watching, and you just, I was studying Isan, where you serve Allah as if you could see him. And it's just a practice. I feel like we need to just put in every day. And you got to do the work to do that, because it's easy to be distracted with everything that's going on in the world. But I'm saying that to say, because then you'll think twice about messing over somebody. Then you'll think twice about treating the marriage as if it is disposable. But go ahead, Doc.
I wasn't gonna say nothing except I'm tired now.
No,
okay.
It just was.
And that baby keep coming to the door.
Okay.
And I don't know why she ain't upstairs asleep.
Because she want to see her nana.
I know. She keep running down these stairs. That's all I was gonna say.
Okay, I'm done.
You okay, sis?
So me, because I be trying to be cute most days, I be tying my key tight to get that like chic
that's
look.
too tight. Oh yeah.
And then, but after a while, I'll be like, wait a minute, I'm being choked.
Yeah, you gotta loosen it up. I'm ready to come completely. I'm ready to get all this off, because I had it on all since what? We been up since what time? 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
First of all, I worked overnight. Then I went to the school. Then I'm working tonight. I actually haven't been asleep like 3 hours. Then I got to work overnight tonight. Got to work at the school in the morning. I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah, I know you do.
Mashallah,
So do I. So I'm getting ready to say,
you.
yeah, he does. I'm out of here. That's what I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, so I don't know. I have no more information that I wanted to share, but I look forward to, hearing and seeing from folks our next podcast. And assalamu alaikum rahmatullah.
Wait a minute, before we end, I just want to say, as a Muslim man, instead of trying to figure out what your rights is as a husband from your wife, figure out what you're supposed to be doing as a husband.
Nice. Yeah.
Start figuring out what you're supposed to do as a husband first, because you bringing you to the relationship, like, she's not gonna make you a better husband. Find out what you're supposed to do as a husband.
Right.
But that is all. And I will see you lovely ladies.
All right.
As I usually
talking about the women. It's going down.
That's right. Assalamu
alaikum.
Wa alaikum
salam.